Here at Crown Hill Cemetery in Indianapolis, you can take a self-guided tour of the Indy 500 notables that are buried here. That is the start-finish line of the tour. And if you come up the hill, the very first stop on that tour is the founder of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Carl Fisher. He was also a big developer in the city of Miami Beach, Florida. And then if you come up the hill a little bit behind the Fisher tombs is Bob Jenkins. He was a longtime voice of the Indianapolis 500. If you ever listen to the 500 on the radio, especially in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, you would most likely hear Bob Jenkins. This is the grave of Floyd Davis. He was a 1941 co-winner with Maury Rose. He drove in 4 Indianapolis 500s. This is the grave of Herbert Jones. He was a driver in the 1925 race. Unfortunately, in the 1926 Indy 500, he died trying to qualify for the race. I'm at the grave of Charles Wyatt. He was hired by the Motor Speedway in 1909 to promote the very first race. This is the unmarked grave of Lawson Harris, 1900 to 1939. He was a riding mechanic, rode with Lewis Mayer when he won in 1933. Unfortunately, he died while riding with Babe Stapp during the testing at the Motor Speedway, 1939. This is the grave of Donald Herr. He was a relief driver in the 1912 race for the Indy 500 winner Joe Dawson. However, he was never credited as the co-winner. This is the grave of Harold Shaw. He was a 1941 Midwest Dirt Track champion. He was a relief driver in the 1933 Indy 500, racing only 2 laps. Unfortunately, he died of injuries sustained in a crash during warm-ups of a race in 1941. This is the grave of Herb Porter, as his marker reads, Indianapolis Motor Speedway Racing Hall of Fame member. He was nicknamed Herbie Horsepower. He was a mechanic for Bobby Unser, Johnny Rutherford, and A.J. Foyt. These are the graves of the Marmon family. They were an Indianapolis auto manufacturing family whose car won the first Indianapolis 500 in 1911 with Ray Haroon aboard the Marmon Wasp. This is the private crypt of Jack Rogers. He was co-owner of the Tony Bittenhausen racing team. This is the grave of Charles Wiggins. He was an African American mechanic, three-time winner of Golden Glory Sweepstakes, the premier event of the Collard Speedway Association. He was often sought by 500 drivers and mechanics for his advice. This is the grave of the Duesenberg family. This is where Fred and Denny Duesenberg. Denny was the son. Their first car they built together won 3 Indianapolis 500s. The car was built in 1930. Next to them is Frank Fox. He was a driver in the first Indianapolis 500. He was also involved in harness racing. The Fox Stakes is named after Frank Fox. This is the grave of Bernard Buddy McAtee. He was president, COO, and executive producer of IMS Productions. This is the grave of Arthur Newby. He was Speedway co-founder and founder of the Indianapolis chain, now called Diamond Chain, and National Motor Vehicle Company. His business partner was Charles Test, who was buried just a few plots down. Charles Test was founder and president of National Motor Vehicle Company with his business partner, Arthur Newby. And he was also the former partner in Diamond Chain Manufacturing Company. This is the grave of James Allison. He was one of the co-founders of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. He was also co-founder of Allison Engineering, later division of General Motors. This is the grave of Frank Wheeler. He was another co-founder of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and founder of the Wheeler-Shebler Company, a company that manufactured carburetors. This is the grave of Louis Schneider. He was the winner of the Indianapolis 500 in 1931, driving the Bose Seal Fast Special. He started in a total of 6 Indianapolis 500s. This is the grave of Tony Bittenhausen Jr. He was the son of Tony Bittenhausen, a race car driver in the Indianapolis 500, and brother to Gary Bittenhausen, also a driver. Tony died in a plane crash February 14th, 2000.